If you like the Super Bowl, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Fly, Eagles, fly. Come join us. Got a lot to talk about as always.
Oh my God!
I'm embarrassed!
He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Monday night, only on A2D Radio. Every Monday, we are brought to you by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL, daily NBA contests, and more. You can win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D, and you get $50 right at sign up. Right at sign up, $50 right in your account to play around with. Go do it. Download FanUp right on the Apple Store. They're the best. Go check them out. I know you'll enjoy it. Ryan Brodo, Brian Wilson, I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, welcome in. Give you some news and notes around the NFL. Not much outside of us and the Chiefs, obviously. Right? And that's it. That's all that's left. All that's left. It feels so good to say. Top 5 reasons for the Eagles Super Bowl run. We'll talk about that later in the show and throughout the show. And it's Eagles Victory Monday. How does it feel the day after? How good does it feel? Has it set in yet for the masses out there? Because these types of things sometimes take a night when you wake up, you're like, oh, shit, that did happen. You know what I mean? That did happen. We are going to the Super Bowl, right? And it feels so good to say it. It feels so good being one of the last 2 teams standing and getting these 2 weeks where it's all about you, right? You get 2 weeks through an NFL season where it's all about you, not just locally, because it's always all about us, but nationally. And that's always been the other positive part about the Super Bowl. Voice of an angel, they once said about you. Not no more, but there was a point.
I can still bail them out on occasion. On occasion.
Agree, disagree.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're here. You can.
Okay.
I mean, I'm saying you can't hit a good note. We're not. Nobody's going to sit here and debate if you can hit a good note or not hit a good note tonight. All right, it's kumbaya.
Saying, last time, listen, it's definitely kumbaya. But last time I sang karaoke at a bachelor party, I got standing out. That's all I'm saying. Standing out, and in the Poconos where I knew nobody at the bar besides people I was with, obviously. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like that's. I
mean,
that's pretty easy to do.
You can ask. Okay. I did. Yeah, agree, disagree.
Yeah, agree, disagree. All right, to our poll question, Howie Roseman is the biggest reason for the Eagles Super Bowl run. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live everywhere you get your podcasts. We're there as well. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. Join the conversation. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And I know I am frozen, so I'm just going with it right now. So I see everybody making goddamn faces. I see you guys. I can see too.
I wasn't sure if I was.
I was
thinking the same thing. I'm like,
you guys are good. Everybody's good. All right. So we're going to continue to the poll. Howie Roseman is the biggest reason for the Eagles Super Bowl run. Agree or disagree? Actually, would have loved 5 minutes with you guys beforehand. So we could have talked about this and see where people are going. But I'm going to disagree because I'll start at the top. And I'll give it to Jeffrey Lurie. I'll give it to Jeffrey Lurie for a couple reasons. One, obviously, he signs off on any head coach that's brought to Philadelphia. We know how he's very hands-on with that stuff. All right, and he's only hired, a select few coaches since owning the franchise. Right, so that means something to loyalty. That means something to hiring good coaches. Right, so we all know that. And I'm giving it to Jeffrey because he kept Howie. He didn't have to keep Howie when the Carson thing went south. And if they were considering drafting a quarterback, Jeffrey Lurie, it has to sign off on that one. There ain't no way that he didn't go to Jeffrey Lurie before a second-round pick and get him on the phone to sign off on that when you just paid your quarterback. There's no way. There's just no way. There's no way. And he had to go to him saying, hey, this is an insurance policy for the money we just paid. And he said, sure, do what you got to do, right? So I think he's as much as Jalen being here as Howie is, too. And Jalen's a real big reason for her success, right? To me, it was players, or I would have jumped up because I think Howie's the easy one because obviously he's done a great job. You know what I mean? He's went out and drafted well. He's went out and then filled in those pieces via free agency, trades, etc., right? The pieces he needed to fill out his roster. So he's done a great job, right? And he obviously deserves a ton of credit for the job he's done. But, I think that's where most people will go. So I'll go a step up and I'll just say, hey, it starts at the top, right? We talk about this in every organization, right? How good's the owner, right? When it comes to being an owner of an NFL or pro franchise, how much does that owner want to win, right? How much does that mean to that owner? Well, the one thing we know about Jeffrey,
does he want to cash checks or does he want to win?
Yeah. And Jeffrey Lurie has talked about a gold standard. And to be honest with you, Jeffrey, you go win this Super Bowl, your gold standard is reality. Your gold standard you talked about when you said what you wanted this franchise to be, right? Guess what it is? It is that gold standard for the amount of NFC title games you've gone to in 2000s through now, right? And you would have 2 Super Bowl rings. That's it. That is a gold standard in my book of owning an NFL franchise for 20, 24, 20, whatever many years, 30 years, right? The back end of it, he's done a great job. So, I'll just go a different way because I think there's a bunch of different ways to go. So I'm going to figure out why I'm frozen now.
Yeah. I like that move, like that call out of you, especially because you didn't even talk about the fact that when Chip was hired, they basically threw Howie away, but they kept him. They threw him away, but they kept him. They kept him in the electrical closet for a little bit, but he was there. So I'm just saying that's maybe. I mean, I like the Jeffrey call out of you actually, but I'm going to give it to Howie because you could give it to Jalen.
I was thinking that too.
But because of his development, but I mean, I'm sure Howie drafted him, or was the main talking piece behind drafting him, I'm sure. And then obviously the way he's put together these lines, our offensive and defensive line have been dominant, absolutely dominant. And that's where I've always say you win up front, you win in the trenches, and we're dominant on both sides. And he's put them together. And I know some guys have been here a little time now, but for the most part, a lot of guys have been at it, especially recently. Haason Reddick's been spectacular. The Bradbury edition's great. Like it seems like he touched gold again. Like 2017 when it happened, he touched gold. A lot of the additions were beautiful. This year again, a lot of the additions beautiful. So it's got an eerily similar feel to 2017. Besides the fact that we're not playing with a backup quarterback.
Beautiful man.
But yeah. But so I mean, listen, I'm gonna go Howie. I'm gonna say yes. But I do like the Jeffrey go out of you. That's not bad. That's like big brain thinking almost, or overthinking. I'm not sure. It's one or the other.
It's next level thinking, right?
Next level. We'll go next level. That's better.
Yeah, because it's because I had this whole thing for Howie as well, to where it's like, yeah, we can go with the players, but without Howie, the players aren't here, or we're not in the position to get those players. And you can look at other organizations, like you look at the Rams, for example. And granted, the Rams, like we know they won the Super Bowl last year. We still have to win one more game in order for us to get to that level, obviously. But they did it completely exhausting all of their resources, right? I think their GM had like something on a mug that said like F the picks, right? Like F the draft picks, F the money, all that stuff. And now you're looking at a roster, with them over the next couple of years where it's like, how are we going to pay all these people? What the hell are we going to do with, no draft picks for first round draft picks for 5 years. The Eagles with Howie Roseman, and this goes to Jeffrey Lurie too, to your point, Tom, where it's Howie's not doing anything without Jeffrey's permission. Howie's not even in the position if Jeffrey Lurie doesn't really give him that extensive leash that we talked about, especially in the, in the doldrum times the last couple of years where it's like, damn, you should have fired him 7 times by now. It's like the people up top have gotten this organization and this team back to winning ways, back to a Super Bowl, not by exhausting resources. If anything, we're in the plus category. Like we have an extra draft pick in the first round next year. We have a ton of money over the next couple of years. That way we can pay a quarterback and extend guys that we've traded for. Like it's actually ridiculous. And it's this is where it's so funny how like things can change in a couple of years, because if you just would have rewound what all of the talking points were, not on just these airways, but all throughout the city, this time 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, we were talking about Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman like they were the freaking evil empire, and justifiably so, because we were looking at it like, oh my God, they ran a Super Bowl head coach out of town. You drafted a backup quarterback, and then you pissed off your quarterback that you just paid. Like, there was just a bunch of things going on. And we kind of went on, the whole thing of like perception is reality. Well, 24 months later, not even, you're back in a freaking Super Bowl, and you look just as good, if not better, as you did in 2017 and 18. So to me, I completely agree with the Jeffrey Lurie thing. I completely agree with the Howie Roseman thing. But just to be different for both of you guys, even though both of you guys have, very correct answers, and I think there's a lot of correct answers to this, I'll just go with Jalen Hurts, right? Because we've seen so many different situations over the years, not only just with the Eagles, where great rosters or above average rosters are in a position to make a playoff run, and they just don't get anywhere close to there, or they don't meet expectations because their quarterback isn't good enough. And I understand the argument. People could say like, oh, well, Ryan, Hurts didn't have to be great last week because you blew out the Giants based off of your defense. Yeah, understand that. Oh, Ryan, Jalen Hurts just basically didn't have to do anything. He had to be a game manager yesterday because of what happened to the 49ers based of our defense. I understand that. But we've seen numerous times over the course of our lifetimes in the history of football where the quarterback just gets in the way of the overall team's success. And we all had our doubts about Jalen Hurts, justifiably so. Not haterade or anything people want to talk about. Justified concerns and doubts about Jalen Hurts after that playoff game against Tampa last year. And when you talk about leaps and bounds that this guy has made in the regular season, you talk about in the playoffs, you talk about leadership, all the intangibles and stuff on the field. To me, we knew this team was going to be good and improve just based off of the roster, but it all hung on, obviously, the quarterback to see how far we'd get when it counted, and that's the playoffs. So to me, I'll go with Jalen Hurts as far as my biggest reason.
Yeah, I think if you put a hypothetical gun to my head in terms of like players, in terms of this poll question, it would be Hurts or the defense, right? Because I didn't think I was expecting the number 1, number 2 defense in football. Like, I don't think any of us were. We were hoping top 10. We were like, hey, if we're top 10, we're in good shape. Right, if we were top 5, we felt like we were going to go to where we wanted to go to. Right, 1 or 2 in the league, then it's where hey, they help out each other too. So that's not a cop out saying Jalen isn't, hasn't done a ton, right? Because they always have leads, right? The Eagles always score first, and that's not always the end, right? But the Eagles defense has played with a lead the majority of the season, right? They have. That's just the facts. That's the stats, right? Mm-hmm. So Jalen and this offense have gotten out the great starts. And I said last night, I think his calmness, his demeanor, all those things, and you just take out the play on the field for a second, is everything that my years of watching football is what the greats do. They're never rattled. Nothing gets them, right? And I think the bigger thing with Jalen is, I don't think Jalen's a stat junkie. I think Jalen's stat junkiness is W's in any way possible. So, that's something big in today's NFL, right? When you talk about the quarterback position, right? Is it bigger than you? Because that's what winners do. It's bigger than winners. You know what I mean? Like Brady, it's never been about Brady numbers. Let's be real. I'm not calling him Brady, but it's never been about Brady numbers. Mahomes to me, who is filthy good, I don't think it's all about Mahomes, right? When I look at the guys that are sensational at it, right? But I think that he brings a calmness that goes throughout this whole locker room. That's all. Like, I think there's something to be said about his calmness, his demeanor, his work ethic, and obviously his play on the field. Was something that I got to last because his play on the field has been whatever this postseason. It hasn't been great, hasn't been bad. It's been right in the middle, and there's no turnovers.
It's led us to victory.
And there's no turnovers. And the biggest thing in postseason football is taking care of the football and being able to run the ball. And I say this all the time before the season even starts. When you got a guy who can run the football, it makes mother you-know-what
freeze. Well, we talked about the best linebacker in the National Football League yesterday, Fred Warner, and he was frozen a couple times. And there was other linebackers because they're forced to. It's not like they're freezing on purpose. They have to wait to see who is Jalen keeping this? Who has? Oh, Kenny's biting. Kenny, right? And it happens. It happens when you have the dynamic, and this is why another reason outside of a great offensive line, that factor plus a great offensive line equals you will dominate teams' faces running the football. And Exhibit B yesterday, Exhibit A happened against the Giants in terms of running the football down some people's throats. And I think Exhibit C is coming 2 weeks because I don't know. They know what they're up against in terms of how good this football team is at putting a 240 spot up on your running. And what happened? What happened? You blink your eyes. So whatever. But that's some good conversation because I thought somebody was going to go Howie and driving home tonight. I was like, you know what? I'll go Jeff then because I don't want to. I was trying to be different. If we don't get a chance to talk, I said I'll go Jeff. And then if not, I was thinking right where you went. So I'm glad I didn't, which would have been Jalen. I was thinking Jalen, but then I don't like to. I don't know. I don't like to put it all on one player either. Right? I agree. Either. Because he's a part. He's a piece of the puzzle, and he's the main piece. But I need a lot of other pieces to go right to get here, and we all know this by now, right? Or my quarterback is just Mahomes. Or I just got Mahomes and Andy, and guess who we're facing? Mahomes and Andy.
Well, I think the thing that I agree with everything you just said too, but when you talk about Jalen Hurts before you even get to what he does on the field, right? And I don't want to say that he was a culture changer, right? Because I don't think we were at toxicity levels as a culture before he got here, right? We were only a couple years removed from a Super Bowl. I get it. It got weird.
I think it depends who you ask.
Yeah. I mean, if you
there was a quarterback here that I don't think it was all kumbaya.
True.
Throughout the locker room, and then I do think because you segued, right? I mean, it was a big segue. So you had to draft that culture too, and they did. That's a credit to Howie too. Well, Steve, you giving Howie credit. He went to start drafting culture guys. I mean, you talk about every pick. Jalen, DeVonta, both team captains, right? Then you go, next year, guess what I'm going to do again? Or that was Jalen team captain. Then the following year you go DeVonta, Dickerson, both team captains. Then the following year, hey, I'm just gonna triple stamp. I'm gonna go now Jordan Davis, Nakobe. Well, Jurgens mixed in there, team captain, obviously, and then Nakobe, right? So if you think about the programs he's gone to, he's not only going to winning programs for a minute, doesn't always work, but he's went to the team that just won it. Right, and he's going to their dominant reason on why they won it. So why Georgia so good? Well, that year they were so good because their defense was lights out. It was lights out, and Nakobe and Jordan, big part of that. Hey, why was Alabama so good? Well, DeVonta and Dickerson, pretty good reason on why those two were pretty good.
Not bad.
And I think he deserves a lot of credit because he was always looking to outsmart you, right? And I think as an organization, they always wanted to outsmart the guy across from him. And they're saying, you don't got to outsmart anybody when it comes to the draft. Get your hands dirty. Go find out about culture guys. Because if you got a bunch of guys in your locker room that are great teammates and you create that atmosphere like they did again, because they did again, and look where you're at. And you're talking about you have 4 leftovers that were team culture guys. Mm-hmm. In that 2017 run. It's a really great job. I mean, he's done, I can't give him enough credit. I just think, I didn't talk about him first at all, because I didn't take him, but, he deserves a ton because I was one of the first guys.
So much credit.
I was roasting him. Johnny!
What up, John?
Thank you, John.
He says, $10 super chat. John says, I love this team. I love A2D radio. Let's go. We're going to draw fake mustaches on Chiefs players. Super Bowl in 2 weeks. F yeah. I feel it in my loins.
My loins.
Go to my loins.
That's a good way to put it.
To Mr. Swoop, sorry. So what's the poll question? Howie Roseman is the biggest reason for the Eagles Super Bowl run. Wilson went with Roseman.
I agreed, yeah.
Ryan went with Hurts, and I went with Jeffrey, which would be the owner.
By the way, we see a lot of people chiming in. A lot of people chiming in.
If people forget who I'm talking about.
I see a lot of people chiming in and what's up, everybody. And yes, we are Super Bowl bound. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to, you guys, you guys obviously didn't get to do anything last night after it.
Yeah.
So, we talked about how
a few too many.
It was weird because I didn't get to talk about this last night, but Lennon was like, why aren't you like jacked up? And I'm like, because I told you it was a lot.
I expected to be here.
I said, I'm not.
Yes.
I expect this. And then when the guy goes out, and I already was calling it the lock of the century, and then the guy goes out that I knew I was getting, I said, I'm even more comfortable. And then when the point come where he couldn't even play, and then when they had to circle back.
Once Josh Johnson was in, I said, oh, this game's over.
You knew it was over. And then he made some plays. He made some good throws on the one drive. And you're like, oh, my God, here we go. Going Josh Johnson get comfortable.
We just said, we just got to tackle. And then we didn't tackle, and McCaffrey ran through the defense. Yep. I was like, okay, here we go.
We're doing this. That was the only time in the game where I was like, we're doing this.
Yeah. But then it was 21-7 like that, though.
I said to her, once they had to go back to Purdy, who we knew couldn't throw, I said, it's over. I already had my excitement level on the Haason Reddick hit was my night game over. It was my game over hit. It was my Minnesota Vikings Chris Long. Like it was like almost the same thing, except it wasn't picked. It was a fumble, right? So it's the same thing. So my thoughts were just a calmness and like this is what winners do. And I said it last night, and you guys in here, but this is what sitting at the head of the table talk is. This is what being the big dog is. This is all those things. This is what winners do. And guess what, Philly? We're winners now. This is back to the city of winners. This is what we're used to. And when you get used to it, you start expecting it. And I want to expect it. I'm tired of people wearing it all the time because we went and skinned the goat, the freaking the get here, the end the curse. And once the curse ended, we're clear sailing. And guess what we're going to go do 2 Sundays from now? We're going to skin a frog, right? Who's essentially a baby goat. We're going to go skin another one, and we're going to go. We don't like to beat up Andy.
We're going to go say hi to Andy.
We're just going to give Andy little pushes. But what was your guys, just your opinions of what you watched on a game that sort of was over from the start?
I mean, we've been dominant both games. Let's be honest. Both games. Oh my God, Texas in OT right now. Let's fucking go. Both games. Sorry. Both games. We've been absolutely dominant on the lines. Dominant. We've dominated the lines. Both games. And you do that, you win. We do that again, we win again. It's great to see. I love it because I love that hard-nosed shit. And how about we wouldn't talk about this, Tom, but how about they saw something and they come out and they start running weak side out of trips. And both times they do that, Miles didn't even get touched. No one. It's 2-hand touch. It's 1-hand touch. He scores a touchdown both runs. No one touched him. I just honestly, I thought the play calling's been really good, and we're executing well. And I wouldn't even say that Jalen's been throwing the ball great because he hasn't, but we're still executing well. It's been great, and I feel like the lines have been dominant. And that's the main thing. From there, it just trickles down.
Yeah, for sure.
It was. I think I texted you this, Tom, or one of the A2D guys. I was like, it was just a really weird day, right? Because like we opened the show on Wednesday this past week, and I was talking about like I know for a fact come Sunday night I'm going to be losing my mind, good, bad, or indifferent, right? I'll be losing my mind if they won, losing my mind if they lost, and it was even before like the Josh Johnson thing and. The fact that we went up like 21-7 and felt like 2 seconds after it got weird a little bit in that second quarter. Because the entire time, and this goes to what we've been talking about all season, where there's just been like a internal calmness when you go on and you're undefeated, going into November and all that stuff. Because, and this is no disrespect to the 2017 team, right? Because they were an unbelievable roster, unbelievable coaching staff, even with the injuries, right? But I don't know if it was because we had never done it before, right? And we were kind of like, oh, well, bad things still happen in Philadelphia. This something's going to go wrong. Or if it kind of goes to what I think it was mainly, and that was the backup quarterback. But even when you beat the Falcons, right? And that game was obviously a mess. You're just hanging on for dear life the entire time. And then you blow out the Vikings. You still had that kind of feeling to yourself where Like, is this effing thing happening? Like, is this real? Like, this shouldn't be happening. These things don't happen to us, let alone happen to us with a backup quarterback, after our MVP candidate at the time gets injured. Like this, it usually goes the opposite way. So it was kind of just like an inner shock, even though we fully predicted us to go and win that Super Bowl after Carson got hurt, right? So it's not like we doubted them. This entire year, it's like we talked about it in August. It's like, yeah, would it surprise anyone that we're in the Super Bowl, number 1 seed, first round bye, and hosting an NFC title game? Like, no. Would it surprise anyone that we're undefeated and we're the best team in football going into November and we have an awesome record? No. Would it surprise anyone?
It was on Jalen. It was on Jalen,
yes,
really. I mean,
yes.
So I wouldn't say
we all said great roster going into the season. We all said great roster, but we're not sure if Jalen's going to take that step. Now, obviously, he has.
Yeah. Well, now would it have surprised people if he took that step? I think a vast majority of people would have been surprised by the steps. Like, not little steps. Not little steps. I think we all expected. I think it was win a playoff game or bust coming in this year. 2017, I'm not saying we were expecting to win either. I'm saying when my difference in 2017 was when Carson went down and Nick came in, I felt a sense of calmness. Once the initial blow happened and it blowed over, I said, you know what? This is how it ends. Like, I just felt it because Red Sox, it's over. It's over. No, we had a great football team still. Like, we still did. Our defense was dominant. Our lines up front were dominant. Like, it was this sick. Yeah, there's my guy. What up, Danny? What up, Danny? Oh, there's a bubbler. What up, Danny?
Yeah, how about them birds?
Go Birds.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
40 boy Lou, what up?
Could have used a fucking Q swing today.
All right. Get the fuck out of here.
Syracuse catching straight.
I know.
Syracuse catching a straight shot.
Oh, he's a diehard like I am. We're struggling. It's been a rough season.
No, I don't even know where I was before Danny, but either.
No, it was and I do agree with you that.
I felt like we were going to win. I just felt like in 2017, this is how it ends. And this year, once we got rolling, like, don't get me wrong, 7 weeks in, you're like, okay, is this real life? But then you still didn't know. You still had to see playoff football. And you felt like we were good enough, right? We felt it, but it was still an unknown. It wasn't like we've been to NFC title games with this roster before or any of those things. So I think we were until we saw Giants week 1, right, in the playoffs, it was, hey, let's get a win in the playoffs first before we start getting cute, right? And when we saw Giants and it was Super Bowl or bust, right, then it was like, no, because that's a layup line. And then it became the Niners, and that's essentially a layup line for you in a weird way. And then the Chiefs, not so much a layup line, but
it's going to be everything. It's going to be the exact opposite.
Listen, I'll tell you what they do. They do actually have one thing I will say is they have a strong defensive line and they have a strong offensive line, just like us. So
not as strong as us, but very good.
No, we're better on both, I would say. But theirs are both very good as well. So it's good. It's good to see. Chris Jones is a problem, but I think that we have the answer to Chris Jones.
Well, we got things lined up all over for Chris Jones.
Chris Jones fucked that game up against Cincinnati. He dominated that game.
They don't have the interior like we do.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
They handle. I'm not saying we will. Chris Jones is a problem, but what I will say is Mahomes has seen everything. Right? He's seen everything. I get it. But I don't know if he's seen a front like this, because front pressure.
He's going to really need to heal. He's going to really need to heal quick. He's going to need to heal quick.
Even if he does, like I'm saying, like, he's a great extender of plays. Like, nobody better in the business. There really isn't. All right, he's a freak. He's the best quarterback probably that I maybe ever seen. Like, gift-wise, physically, the things he can do on a football field, and he wins games. Right, makes sense. And he has a Super Bowl ring. Like, he fits the part of like he does everything great on a football field, in my opinion. But he's never seen a front like this. Well, never have he seen a front that can get after you with the speed that we have. Not just the power, but the speed.
Honestly, Tampa's was pretty close when they doors them.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And I'm gonna have to go back and look at that game over the next couple weeks. But I remember, and
Who were their ends?
They had JPP and who's the other guy?
Who was the other DM? I know who they had in the middle.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but the other DM was
that 2020?
Yes.
Super Bowl.
Because they don't have a son, Reddick.
No. JPP played well that year, but he was an old man. But he played well that year.
But that also makes him roll. That would mean he's got to do more rolling out to his left side. Not as easy. Not saying he don't do it well.
Okay, so these were their defensive starters in the Super Bowl. Ndamukong was their left D end. Rakeem.
Well, they ran a 3-4, I guess. So right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who are outside linebackers?
JPP, Devin White, Levante David, and Shaq Barrett.
Shaq Barrett was their other one.
Barrett was their other guy.
So Shaq Barrett and JPP aren't better than
Reddick and Graham.
Or Reddick can just Sweat. They're not better.
Or just Sweat. Yeah, that's fine.
Not better than Reddick and Sweat. I mean, they're both Reddick got double. I mean, Sweat's got double digit sacks.
Yeah, and Hargrave and Cox have been great. They've been getting a great push.
They probably are better than. They're probably better than Vita Vea and Sue. Close, at least the rotation.
Right there. Yeah. And the fact that our
linebackers were better. I mean, their linebackers were better. So
for sure.
Their money was in their linebackers. So they spied the shit out of him.
But I think our linebacking core they're young and they've been getting better and better as the season's going on. Getting better and better. I really don't have many complaints.
I'll tell you what, a guy who
big challenge though this week with Travis Kelce. Big challenge.
Oh yeah,
big challenge for the linebacking core.
He's a different. Specimen.
Maybe CJ Gardner-Johnson maybe gets a lot of time. I don't know. So it's going to be a big challenge. That's where Pat's bread's buttered. He's getting a lot of targets, a whole lot.
Yeah. To the linebackers real quick before you go to 40 Boys question. Somebody who I think we all had a bit of a concern with our linebackers going into the end of December was Kaiser White. It was kind of like
has played better. Yeah.
He ever since the playoff. I don't know if he needed a couple weeks to get healthy. I don't know if he's been battling anything. I haven't really seen him on the injury report. It
seemed like slow legs.
Yeah,
right?
It just seemed like he hit a wall in the first week of December, and he was struggling.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They come out healthy is always a lot too. It's one thing to get hurt. Everybody gets hurt, but it's one thing that you come out of the year, you're you're getting down the stretch and you're fully healthy. Like, oh man,
yeah,
it is a lot of football, especially when extra game too.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably right. A lot of guys need that extra week. I know it's been poo-pooed in the past, having it and not wanting it. I could fully disagree with that nowadays because that extra game,
absolutely.
Especially
the ball is humongous.
Especially if week 17 matters, the advantage of being able because the Eagles said about the Giants that they look tired. Guys saw that the Giants were tired. Can't blame them. I mean, you're straight through right there. Now, it's not an excuse. We're way better. So Giants could have maybe just felt tired at the end after we were already done kicking their ass. But, it's such a great time. It's just such a great time to be alive and be able to, enjoy Eagles football. Right? I know you were younger than me and Wells at the time. No. Just go ahead after this. But I know you were younger than me and Wells. But there's a lot of heartbreak that went on. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
When we first got
a lot of heartbreak.
When we first got good, I mean, we were right there. We were not going to
we lost in the championship game a lot
all the time. The teams that we were we were way better than.
We were damn good. We were bearing Carolina. We were bearing Tampa. We used to beat Tampa every year and then lose the championship game.
Don't get me wrong. I clearly wasn't old enough to appreciate it like you guys, but I remember a lot of those nights where I don't know
how much appreciate we did after a while.
Not to mention the mid to late 90s. We were fucking terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't around for that. I will say that I was not around for. Or if
early
I was
90s, early 90s we were good, but we still stunk. Everyone loves to talk about Randall. We had best defense ever, and we couldn't win fucking.
We were 4-1 every year, and Randall would tear his ACL every year. Yeah. Every year, 4-1 or 3-1.
We would get hurt.
And Randall got hurt.
Well, the year that we were the best when we were young, Randall broke his leg.
Yep. I think against the Jets too.
When we were young,
Yeah, against the Jets. But either way, either way.
There are
it's
many.
been a long time. It's been a long time for us to be
We
good.
dealt with a lot of heartache.
We dealt
with a lot of heartache. That's why once 2017 happened, the heartache went away. So you just have to naturally change your mindset to officially being a winner. You know what I mean? And you got to walk and talk like one. You know what I mean? You got to talk shit into existence. For years, after what happened the second NFC title game, not the first one against the Rams, we weren't expected to go and beat them that year. Yeah. The second one is when you're supposed to win, and we didn't at home, is when the heartbreak set in, and because we were walking and talking like that game was the layup line. And the problem is we weren't ready yet, and we lost. Well, we were ready, but we lost that game, right? And that's what set people off for the future of never being able to say we're just that much better, right? So for the rest of it, up until after 2017, right, guys, right, we were never able to say that we're just better because 90% of this fan base or 75% was still scarred from that first NFC title game. True. And then it just continued.
Well, then the one after that against Carolina was even worse.
Yes, it was just the first of many scars. Yeah. But that
then when we did actually win it, we go against a New England team that was a juggernaut. Yep. So it was like yeah, it was rough. It was awful. But here we are. Here we are.
We made it through the jungle. And now
Look at us. Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us.
No, it was like you go to 2017 and the way you do it was like an organizational reset. It was like a clean slate. You know what I'm saying? It was like a clean slate. It's like, okay, you beat the boogeyman, you beat the GOAT, you beat, kind of the nightmares of Eagles past per se, especially with Belichick and Brady and how you did it. And honestly, it's so funny when you look at the two teams that are in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Because I think if you were to say, and I'm not putting the Eagles glasses on, I honestly find it hard to find another team that would take place of these two. Over the past 5-6 years, the two best organizations in football, and I'm just speaking based off of results here, it's not opinion, it's the Chiefs and the Eagles when you talk about organizational brilliance. And the Eagles, of which we talked about, and this goes to Jeffrey and Howie and everybody up top, you did it, and then you reset, and then you did it again. Like, the Chiefs have been doing it the same way, and that's with Mahomes and Andy. We did it with Doug and Carson and Foles. Then it's like, we got to regroup, and now we're doing it with Nick and Jalen and company.
Yeah, I think we put the curse of Norman Brayman to bed. Norman Brayman is the guy who decided it would be smart to trade Reggie White, sign him.
He was more about cashing checks than winning games. That's what we talked about earlier. That was Norman Brayman. That's what he was.
Yeah. So he traded, and it was the curse. It's never a curse of Reggie, right?
Yeah.
But it was
Reggie left. Keith Jackson left right around that same time too. Yeah. And obviously we know Jerome passed
away. Yep. And our organization was never the same until Jeffrey took over. He hired Ray Rhodes first. Then he realized Ray Rhodes was just a rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
And
we won one playoff game though against Detroit by 1,000 points.
Yep. And then his speeches and then
Sorry, Don. Sorry, Don.
No, sorry, Don. And then we went into Andy.
Did he really say this? So Don said Brad from Sports Sound said Reddick's cheap shot on Brock Purdy.
First off, I was gonna say I wasn't gonna say Brad's an idiot, but that's an idiot. That's an idiot comment.
Well, I mean,
because you go for the arm at the ball's in. That's just common sense.
You can make an idiot comment and still be an idiot.
That's
which
true.
then makes you an idiot.
You can make a smart comment and still be an idiot. So I hear.
Or just a sports idiot. Hey, Brad, you're a sports idiot.
Or just an idiot. Just an idiot.
Oh, you know what? I'm not even an idiot anymore, Brad. I'm just gonna say you're the biggest Philly hater of all time. So it's fine. You're a New York fan. I get it. But don't say
you're just salty little girl. Salty little Ryer. It's
a football play. So now we're responsible.
Nothing wrong with that play.
Now we're responsible for UCL.
If you should be upset, you should be upset with the San Francisco fucking team who has an all-pro going against a tight end in that position.
A backup tight end.
That's what you should be upset with. That's what you should be upset with. Well, he's their blocking tight end. But still, that's what you should be upset with. That's what you should be upset with. That got them hurt. That got him hurt.
You don't want your quarterback getting hurt in the first drive? Protect your quarterback. Oh, and you don't want your fourth-string quarterback getting a concussion? Protect your quarterback. Here's a wild idea. They didn't do that. Sorry. It's not golf where we're going to come over there and freaking high-five you. It's football. Guys get hurt. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not looking for anybody to get hurt.
No.
That was just a body bag game.
Yeah, it happens.
That was body bag 2, right? Body bag 1 came with Buddy Ryan in Dallas, right?
Remember that game.
That
game, yeah.
That was first body bag. This was number 2. Because San Fran did a lot. I'm not saying they did a lot of talking. Their fans did a lot of talking, okay? They came in here with the big, bad wolf defense, all these skill position guys that were so super talented, all right? The smartest coach of all time. We know he's a well-documented loser in big games. Now can everybody hop on my wagon? Now can everybody hop on Tom's wagon? He's an idiot. And you know what's even worse? Is he had an opportunity Sunday to dress another quarterback. Maybe in a title game. Maybe in an NFC title game. You can't predict for 2 guys to get hurt, but you really need the extra player over saying, you know what, let me have 3 guys dressed. Just God forbid something happen in the most important position in sports. Or, right, like you don't want to play Jimmy G because he's hurt, fine. But he should at least be your emergency. You know what I mean? Your emergency.
Now McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, but the first play, the first drive of the game. I mean, that's where he lost his football team the game. So, I mean, nobody can say anything else. Like, I'm not saying that they would have won. I'm just saying you gave your team no chance because you just automatically call a timeout or you just throw the flag. One of the two, but call a timeout. Call a timeout. If you think there's any chance of him not catching it, call a timeout. So, these guys think it's so sacred, but he's the definition of a guy who's blown a million games. So, I mean, blown a million people.
I couldn't believe that he didn't challenge that strictly because of how big of a play that was, and it looked like it's such a miraculous catch by DeVonta. And it looked like, I thought he caught it from the naked eye. But it looked like it's such a miraculous catch and it's such a big play with a 4th down play. I just would have assumed with us rushing up, you just challenge it, right? I guess he wanted to keep that guy in the barrel. Well, good decision, Kyle.
Well, guys, and tell me if you guys were thinking this in real time or after that too, because a bunch of 49ers fans today are saying, "Oh, well, it's the Fox broadcast fault because they didn't get a replay on it until after the commercial break. That's why they didn't challenge it." Well, first off, if a coaching staff, especially as highly lauded as the Shanahan coaching staff is, they shouldn't be relying on a freaking TV staff broadcast replay. Number one, and two. My gut reaction, I completely agree with Wolves. I thought in real time, naked eye was a catch.
Yeah.
But then you see DeVonta very smartly, and this is credit to DeVonta, he's signaling, let's move. If I'm Shanahan or somebody on that sideline, should I not alarms go off my head?
It's just such a big play. It's just such a big play, and you see them rushing to the line, you got to throw it.
Yeah, why are they panicking?
What I would say is, maybe he didn't see DeVonta after the fact, but somebody had to. Somebody's got to relay that info, right?
Something.
Yeah, something, because you had enough time to get a timeout out.
Oh, there was plenty of time.
It was a lot of time.
Guess what? Either way, he could have had Jimmy G at quarterback.
Yeah.
You understand? You were going against a better football team. And when you're going against more talent, right? When you're going against more talent, and you're going against a team with this much heart that this football team has, all over, and especially at the quarterback position, it's hard to beat Hart, man. like it is hard. That's what I'm going to say about next Sunday or 2 Sundays from now. It is hard to beat Hart. That's it. And I think going into this football game, there's a lot more of it up front on our side than anybody's sides. Anybody in football, there's more heart in our trenches than anywhere else. That's where it's won. And I'll always say my quarterback has a ton of heart.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole football team seems to have it. My coach has it. And that was a veteran move. Yep. It was a veteran move by DeVonta.
Yeah, it was.
Can I say too that, and again, I'm sure it's very easy for us, and especially me, to say, "Oh, well, we would have won regardless if it was Purdy or Jimmy G or."
No, it's not right. No, it's facts.
No, we would have won.
I honestly
we
think
dominated that game.
Well,
Listen,
and
guess
it's not
what?
even.
Hey, Ryan, it could have been Steve Young or Joe fucking Montana. We would have won that game. We dominated the fucking game.
Because
you dominate the lines, doesn't matter who plays quarterback.
Yes.
Dominate, you win.
That's exactly it. Because I don't want to say that the Purdy injury and the
4 rushing TDs.
Well, that's exactly it. Because
against number 1 rush defense. By the way.
Yeah, the team that we said that everyone in the country said that we couldn't run on all week. I don't want to say that the Purdy and Josh Johnson injury was irrelevant, but we talked all week. We said it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then before the game on Sunday, that when you talk about beating that ferocious, and they're a very good defensive line, right? Like the 49ers, they're very good. We saw it all year. But we knew if you stop Nick Bosa, which a very injured Lane Johnson without a freaking groin stopped him all damn game. If you stop Bosa, they really don't have answers on their defensive line. So I don't care if it's Brock Purdy or whatever quarterback, fill in the blank. We beat them so many other ways besides just the quarterback not getting it done. And also, I listen, I understand the refs didn't have a good weekend on either game. Understand that. There was a ton of self-inflicted mistakes that the 49ers they gave us that whole drive. And if you don't want to act like they didn't give us a drive,
none of those were bad calls. They were all evident calls.
This is what happened.
Evident calls.
When you know at a point that, hey, this unit's just that much better than us, you start trying to get away with shit as a player.
Yes.
These players know what they're doing. Come on. These guys know what they're doing. They're trying to get away with calls. Because at the end of the day, Ryan, don't disrespect their front like that. Because all we heard was how good this is the best front seven in football. That's all we heard. So give it all the accolades it needs. But what happens is sometimes you think you got a big time plan walking in, and guess what? You get squared the F up. And what happened is your plan went out the window because you said, "Oh shit!" Like because I said at the beginning, not only is this a great offensive line, but it's a smart quarterback in the RPO game, and it's explosive running game, running backs. When you have that, night, I don't care about Fred Warner, Ray Lewis. I don't give a rat's ass because you still got to freeze. You got to still freeze, and you need your guys to win up front too. But what happens is when your offensive line's so good, your guys up front don't win.
Yep.
Best front. I heard all this for a week. I heard this is the 85 Bears walking in. They are very good. Obviously, they're 1 or 2 in league. They're very, very good. I'm not going to discredit them like that. But we're that much better. That's the facts of it. So instead of Niners fans getting salty,
it's just, hey, guess what? They got a great line. We have the best offensive line in football.
The best.
That's just fact.
And this goes to our confidence, from 2 weeks from now too, aside from just the 49ers game.
And we're healthy.
And listen, do I agree with a lot of people saying like Jalen didn't look very healthy yesterday? Yeah, I don't think I would love him.
He just had to hand the ball. Now, did he miss? He missed it. He missed AJ Brown. That was a foot on the throat throw early that I was upset about. But it didn't end up mattering. But that was a bad miss at the time in the game.
Yeah.
Well, so I do think to what Ryan was saying, though, I do feel over the last 2 weeks maybe that the zip's not there as much.
He hasn't looked great, I would say.
It could be the cold, or the wind, but I'm gonna lean towards maybe it's a little bit of shoulder. We'll find out 2 weeks in the friendly confines.
I mean, it's gonna be. I was gonna say it's gonna be a beautiful place to play.
Big advantage for your shoulder. Big advantage for your shoulder is getting Arizona a week before it starts. Big advantage for your ankle is getting Arizona a week before the Super Bowl. So both quarterbacks are going to have an opportunity to freshen up a little bit. And I know they said, Mahomes didn't hurt the ankle any worse yesterday. I beg to differ. I'm not going to say worse, but it definitely sets it back a little bit.
He re-aggravated. We saw, Tony Romo friggin' screams on every play, but the one where he planted and ran towards the side, he clearly re-aggravated something. I'm not saying it's going to be.
I mean, listen, they have him like taped up crazy, but a high ankle sprain is a 3 to 4 week injury. I mean, he played in less than a week, right? Basically, or like at a week. It's really impressive. He was out there. That thing was taped up crazy. I'm sure it hurt like a bitch. I'm sure it hurt like a bitch.
When you talk about the confidence, though, like, and we talked about this going into the 49ers game, we were saying, okay, coming out of that Giants game where we scored, 37, 38 points, and that was like in three quarters because we really let our foot off the gas. We were like, oh, we did that, and we really didn't do anything like awesome offensively. It was the Kenny Gainwell game. Like, your third string running back was like your best offensive player. Like, you got nothing out of A.J. Brown. DeVonta had some moments, but it's not like he had like 127 yards or anything. And it was just like, okay, you handled business, nothing flashy, and you end up with almost 40. Well, this week, Jalen's not awesome. You have, some really good running plays, but they don't go crazy. Like, and I'm just looking at the stat sheet. Like, your leading rusher, Kenny Gainwell with 48 yards. Your leading receiver, DeVonta Smith with 36 yards.
Well, we didn't have to, though. You know that.
No. I understand
this was just such a weird game because you knew. Listen, I think it's probably the first time in NFL history that a team's down 3 touchdowns or 3 scores and it's run the ball every play. I mean, literally 45 plus running plays and you're down 3 scores the majority of the game. Like,
I completely agree with that.
It's just the most craziest fucking game of all time. In that regard, I
completely agree with that. My point is that you're going into it putting up all of those points the last 2 weeks, and you've gotten nothing out of A.J. Brown, like literally nothing. You've gotten like a couple moments with A.J. Brown, and now you have 2 weeks to get healthy again, and you're going indoors.
So it's like, I think you should go to game 1 of the playoffs is where you really can say, hey, you know what? That was a healthy team coming in, and we do what you're supposed to do in the postseason, and we rushed for 268 yards at 6.1 yards a clip and 3 TDs, and we shoved it up your ass. So if I'm going to a game where it's a statement game for me and how I look at how good this team is, that's probably the playoff game I go to. But that being said, first drive of the game, I go down the field on them. I make enough big plays, right? I got the guts to go for it on a 4th and 3, right? I convert it regardless what we say, catch or no catch.
Yeah,
right?
Regardless, it was converted.
And I go in and I punch him right in the mouth early. So, I think the biggest thing we can take away from the first 2 games we watched is that our running attack is so lethal. It's so good. And when it's this good, it plays with a great defense come this time of year. And I think that proofs in the pudding. And I think the bigger thing going 2 weeks from now is not only do we have this running attack, but if you want to get into that type of shootout, we can play that way too. And I don't think there's a team in football that can play as many different ways and adapt like we can. I don't think there's a team in football that can do it. There isn't. Name it. Find it.
And honestly, though, we have the recipe for how you beat a great quarterback Kansas City-led team is that because guess what? Usually when they get beat, they let up a lot of rushing yards. You just run the ball down their throat. Keep him off the field. And I would love to do that. I would love to run it right down their throat.
And you're keeping Mahomes off the field, too.
That's what I'm saying. Keep him off the field.
Yeah. Everything that they talked about, like how, after we lost to the Commanders and the Saints, how, oh, my God, the teams found the formula and the Eagles were exposed because they're going to time of possession us to death. Well, we can do that to them, but we could do it with far more talent. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row we did it. The 2 playoff teams. Night.
We went and got 2 deep tackles after that, right?
Yeah, we did do that too. We did do that too. Nice, which is definitely a nice luxury, right, guys? Yeah. Like we definitely, we never said this isn't going to happen anymore.
Yep.
And we got two guys that
veterans
that have had an impact.
They play. Dominican plays.
Dominican got a big sack yesterday.
Dominican's been playing well.
I just hope they don't get cute 2 weeks from now, like James is saying. I hope they don't.
Yeah, don't get cute. Exactly. Absolutely, James. Don't get cute.
Was it Greg Olsen yesterday? Was that the?
I like Greg Olsen, by the way.
No, was that the analyst?
And he's calling it again on. I think.
I know. I was just remembering it was Greg Olsen. Like I thought that's who it was that had our game. I'm making sure it wasn't the week before, but either way, he talks about how we like to throw early to run late. Right, which is a little bit different than most teams. So now I sort of look at that, and I got to give Shane a lot of credit for yesterday too. Like I thought you go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Right, not good. And he goes, right? And I like that he went back to it. I like that he went back to it and didn't keep feeling like you're gonna fit a round peg in a square hole. Not gonna happen.
I like that he did it with Kenny too. You know what I'm saying? To where it and that's no shot at Miles.
Did Miles play in the second half? Not a lot.
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not because he didn't have to.
I mean, was that the reason, or because Kenny? Listen, I mean,
I got 2 touchdowns.
Kenny's more explosive.
Yes. Well, Kenny's north and south more.
Yes. Well, that's what
you can't say this to certain people. They'll tell you you're wrong, and guess what? That tells me you don't watch football. All right? Because if you watch football,
tells me you don't watch football.
If you watch football, Kenny Gainwell's a one cut and go guy.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is
pitter-pats too much.
Not saying he doesn't get upfield, right? Not telling you.
He fucking pitter-pats.
But I'm not telling you that.
It's the reason he'll never get paid by us. But
Miles is more short, choppy. Where Kenny, get the ball, short, chop, hit hole, go. And you can see the difference because on the one run with Fred Warner is Kenny, and he don't have enough time to react to him. Nope. Where if you pitter patter for a second, he can just catch.
He's gonna make the tackle. He's gonna make it.
You gotta take that handoff from Jalen, and you gotta go.
You gotta hit that hole. Yeah, you gotta go.
Boston has so much success. Like if you're playing with Jalen Hurts, it ain't. Let me dance around and have a little party. I could have rushed for 1,600 this year in 17 games with enough carries. If you just now, I'm not gonna say healthy, but if I stayed healthy, I could do that. Rush for 1,600 yards. And with Jalen, just one cut and go.
Absolutely. And let's be honest though. Like, I mean, I will say Miles has had a good year. He has. But guess what? That also doubles down of why I don't pay him, because he's going to want decent money. And I think any running back runs well behind our line. Anyone. I do too. Anyone.
Yeah, Kenny might have in the last 2 weeks, and we don't listen. We might have a part 3.
If you think you need a bigger back, you just draft one in the 5th round. Guess what? He'll run good behind our line.
Exactly. Well, they all do.
I got a guy, Sean Tucker from Syracuse, good player.
Look at Kansas City. Kansas City.
Pacheco. He replaced Edwards-Helaire, and who's the other guy they have?
He runs hard. That Pacheco.
And he runs hard.
Yes, he does.
Young guy.
Violent kid, South Jersey kid. That's why runs hard. South Jersey kid runs hard.
Younger guys are going to run harder than older guys, in my opinion.
Always.
It's always the way it's going to be because they have a little.
They're not paid
less. Well, they have less wear and tear too.
Well, that's true.
Especially, they're going to run harder, especially after, more than old guys after they get a contract too. Not calling Miles an old guy by any means, but it's Kenny Gainwell over the last 2 weeks, and he might have do it in 2 weeks. Might have cost Miles Sanders like $7-8 million.
Well, and Boston Scott, in my opinion.
I mean, listen, he might get paid from
and Boston, because Boston gets a carry, so he goes in the house, right? Because he don't dance, right? Boston don't dance, so he's another guy. Like you can just get back on a cheap deal.
And our line's so big, they lose Boston behind our line. I feel
exactly. I want smaller backs.
Yeah, I like it.
Small, quick backs that hit holes, because I can find that in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can find it. I can. So at the end of the day, like I have more needs for my money than Miles, and I do like Miles. Like Miles had a comeback season, but you also had a comeback season on a contract year. So yeah, but Kenny's better though, Humberto. Like
he's better than Corey Clement was.
Well, Corey did get hurt.
But if you remember, Corey, he's right though. Corey played really well. Late obviously in the Super Bowl, he had a great Super Bowl. But yeah, Corey played really well. Kind of out of nowhere. It's just like Kenny. Kenny's been kind of out of nowhere here.
But I always thought he could play well. Like he always ran hard.
I think that he's
ran hard.
Got a lot of talent.
But this is why people all year are like, wow, why is he getting carries? Because you got to get these guys reps. You can't just let guys sit there all year.
Carries? Because Miles is pitter-patting. That's why he's getting fucking carries.
Yeah, well, we know this for years.
Jesus Christ, watch the game. I don't care if people try to tell me he's not pitter-patting. Watch the game. He's pitter-pattering.
Yeah, pitter-pat.
Pitter-pat. I don't care. Pitter-pat. His name might as well be Pitter-pat. Miles Pitter-pat Sanders. And he's had a good year. Don't get me wrong. Everyone don't kill me, all right? If you want to kill me, at me. I don't give a fuck. Okay? But seriously. But seriously. The dude has had a good year, but he pitter-pats. And there's no chance we're paying him. If we pay him, it's the dumbest move of all time.
Well, especially we have like 7 other guys we need to resign.
That's what I'm saying. We're not paying him. No. We're not paying him when we get the best line in football. I could run for $1,000 behind that line.
Yeah, I mean, I said 15. So
yeah, I was going to get Listen. I'm like Tom Rathman. I can get three a punch every time.
Yeah.
Especially with, our line's so good. I liked how they showed our line a lot, like getting low on them. There's camera angles where they see our line getting low and pushing. Like, look at this push from this line.
I think we answered the 5 questions on why, what are the reasons for a Super Bowl run. And we went all the way down the list. If you think about it, we went Jeffrey from us. We went Howie.
Yep.
We went Jalen. We threw in a caveat where I threw in the defense, right, as a fourth. I think we'll all agree there. And then I think what we just talked about, our offensive line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, there's the 5 main reasons on why we're here. And I could put so many more things in. Like DeVonta, the other part. Like, it's not just a good offensive line, but when you have great skill guys on the outside, I can't load a box now. So I got to pick my freaking poison here. And I think that makes you even more dangerous. This team might be one of the most well-built-out teams that I've seen in a while. And where most teams want to throw it all the time. And we've always said that, like, we feel like Jeffrey loves the dog and pony show, right? He wants you to score points, doesn't really like running. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to pound the ball in the Super Bowl and win again, right? We're just going to win because we're going to win ugly. Maybe we win ugly. Maybe it's not the prettiest offensive performance. I think it's going to be good. But either way, Jeffrey's going to have to hoist a Lombardi knowing that, hey, my team essentially was first or second in the league in points per game, and they ran through the postseason and ran down everybody's throat. He's going to love the run. That's all. He's going to love the run. He's going to want – he might have you draft Robinson in the first round. You know what I mean? Out of Texas. He might have you. He might say, you know what, it's Ted? I'm like Jerry Jones now. Give me a big back. Give me the best back. Right? You know what I mean? Because he's going to fall in love with the run as he should. And not fall in love with it, but understand that, hey, Jeff, we love to throw it. But when you can do 2 things at an elite level, it makes life easier, especially if you're playing in cold weather environments. Philly, Kansas City. Well, Kansas City can do whatever they want with Mahomes. But Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Buffalo can take notes
Jets,
off of us, which is amazing. If I was a Buffalo fan, I'd be like, hello, can I just have like half of that? Like, I'll take Kenny. They're like, can I take Kenny? They would probably below you for a Boston Scott.
I know the Giants would.
Giants absolutely would.
I saw a Giants fan say, like, we got to sign Boston Scott.
Yeah.
Number 1 free agency target, Boston Scott.
Tired of watching
this shit.
Yeah.
Well, we dealt with that in Philly from, like, Martin Prado.
And fucking Jeff Conan.
Million guys that were just guys, too. Like, I love it when it's a million guys that were just, like, shortstop now, Miguel Rojas.
Oh my God, where's us out? Who's the dude for the Mets? Who's the dude for the Mets where Fransky was like, this guy fucking stinks, and then they immediately took it down like the next day when people got the video of it. But Hairston for the Mets killed us for a while. He used to homer off Cole every time he faced him. I feel like.
Question: do you have anything else? Is there anything else outside of the 5?
I have one thing I need to say.
Okay.
Because I missed it last night. Okay. I got a crumb. All right.
Oh.
And I'm sorry, but I'm coming right to some of my brethren here. And I apologize in advance. But I can't believe that we're out on Broad last night climbing signs and shit. This is an after Super Bowl win activity. Okay. I'm sorry. I expected to be here. I wasn't out on Broad. All right. You want to let a firework off? Congratulations. We shouldn't be out on Broad, climbing signs, destroying bus fucking stops, flipping cars and shit. What are we doing? That's an after Super Bowl win activity. That's something that Cleveland does. Celebrates conference championships. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? All right. We're better than that. Okay. We're not a loser franchise. We're better than that. We celebrate after the Super Bowl win. So if you were out there on the street yesterday, shame on you. Shame on you.
You're in it. Yeah. You're. Listen, you go celebrate with your peeps.
Yeah, I had some drinks. I wasn't out on the street climbing poles.
No, listen.
What are we doing?
Listen, in the past, I've walked Broad after I walked after World Series title, but I walked it
after the Super Bowl win. Yes, absolutely.
I walked. Brian, you were with me for the NLCS when we beat the Dodgers. We left.
I was out there. Yeah.
We left the bar and we all went over to the city and we just walked around. But my point is, we just soaked in the environment. We weren't climbing light poles and flipping cars. We saw those things.
That was also when we hadn't won anything yet.
True. But I'm just telling you, don't start meeting kettles because
I'm the old curmudgeon now. Yelling at the kids. I understand that. I
get off my lawn. Get off my lawn.
I get that. I'm just saying. Let's act like we've been there before. Come on.
I mean, I know that's blurry, but I mean that's a shot of the city last night. It looks like friggin' Armageddon.
No, but I mean, I get it. I don't get the climbing up but I get the celebration.
Of course.
I love having a great time. I had quite a few cocktails last night. I'm just saying, I don't think
I was 24 years old.
I don't think we should be out there doing we just won the Super Bowl.
But if I was 24, I'd be Where's Waldo in that picture.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a lot older. We're a little older now.
No, but just a minute. If we're 24, we're Where's Waldo in that pic.
There's a good possibility
in our primes.
I mean, I was 24 for the Phillies, and I was Where's Waldo in that pic. So yes, that's correct.
I know your truth. Full circle here on ATD.
But I still feel like that was before we won anything.
I agree to a point, though. But there still should always be a celebration.
Oh, I had a great time
for winning
last night.
For winning an NLCS.
Yep.
Right? For winning an Eastern Conference final. Right? For winning any finals that wins you that entire conference.
I mean, listen, I get it. It's a huge win.
Not a parade.
It's a huge win.
Not parade worthy.
No,
it's just celebrational worthy. Because we got another one to go do.
It's a huge win.
It's a pregame. It's a pregame. Is all that was last night. So that last night's a pregame for what is going to transpire.
I'm completely fine with that, plus even more after we win. All right, like completely fine. I'm
just talking you back. I'm usually the guy. I'm the guy who don't like people. You're more of a people person.
I agree.
Will, so are you crumbing the destruction, not the celebration? Like you're not crumbing the celebration. You're crumbing.
I just thought it was over the top.
Okay,
it was borderline Super Bowl win celebration. Like you know what I mean? Like it was. We're breaking bus stops. We're flipping cars. We're climbing on all the poles. I mean, I feel like that's an after Super Bowl kind of shit.
A crumb will always be crumb, Super Bowl or not, for flipping cars.
Yeah, I don't like that shit. Yeah. Don't do that shit.
No matter what age I was, destruction was never my thing. Well, my thing is yelling and screaming.
I might get drunk and drop a couple cans. I might drop a couple cans on the ground.
I might litter. I might litter a little bit.
Yeah, sue me. I might litter a little bit when I'm out there, but I'm not going to be flipping cars.
You might not, you just won't go airborne through the top of a bus stop. Like,
I'm also not climbing. I know where I belong. I belong on the fucking ground. I'm not climbing up poles or bus stops.
Happens on the ground.
Guess what? Motherfuckers throw bottles when you're out there. Okay, you gotta watch yourself.
If God wanted to make me a monkey and climb up fucking shit, then he would have made me a monkey. But God didn't make me a monkey. He made me a human being. And here I am with 2 feet. So I'm going to stay where they're playing.
Yeah, I'm playing on the ground, firmly on the ground. Yes. I'm not climbing anything. I'm definitely not standing on top of a bus stop that's made of glass. What are we
with like 7 other people? By the way,
what are we doing?
So I agree with the extra Wells. But I'll never agree with a celebration.
It was a good night to celebrate. Yes. We just went. I think it went a little too.
You didn't come on. You didn't make the show because of your celebration.
Well, I just was out drinking all day.
Well, that's a celebration.
I know. I agree.
Your exact words were,
I wasn't in the street.
Your exact words were, "I'm going to celebrate this."
Oh, wow. I knew that. First off, as soon as Haason Reddick hit Brock Purdy, and then I could see that he couldn't grip the ball on the sideline, I said, "There's no chance I'm doing a show tonight," because I was like, "This game's a wrap. This game's a wrap. I'm winning money, and beers were flowing."
I'll ask both of you guys this because I saw another video this morning last night. I don't know which part of Philly it was, but it was in the jungle. It's somewhere in that picture I showed you, where it was 2 people that were driving a golf cart. And there was a person on top of the golf cart. They had basically the the pedal all the way down, flooring it through the sea of people. Is that acceptable?
Are they running people over?
No, nobody was hit, but people were on top of the roof of the golf cart.
I mean, listen.
No, nobody was harmed.
I'd love a golf cart ride if I was out there. But I thought you meant they were like running into the crowd. That's not a good.
No. At least in the video, I can't confirm because I was not on the ground. But at least in the video, nobody was struck.
I mean, I remember after I was out there after the Phillies won in 2008, and it was wild. There's people on top of cars, people on the back of trucks. I mean, it was.
Yeah, people were just going to people's houses.
It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, it was a train wreck.
It was wild.
But great time.
Oh, spectacular time. It was
I don't even know. I'm about to say
honestly, here's the question. I can't answer this question.
No, I can.
I can't. Because this question I have is for after Super Bowl win, so I can't answer it yet.
No, I can.
It's bad juju.
No, it's not, because I know exactly
you want me to? Okay.
All right. No, I know where your head's at. I'm probably going to ask the same question.
Which?
Like what? Ask it.
Okay, let me see. Let me hear
it. I've already been
I'll give you mine.
Well, I already been to 2.
Yeah, me too. But I'm saying, so they were both different though, because if you remember, the Phillies started Center City and ended South Philly at the stadium.
Oh, I wasn't going to ask that. No,
Eagles started at the stadiums and ended Center City. I prefer the Phillies one, honestly.
I prefer maybe just sitting right here watching it. That fucking mess.
No, well, listen, I was saying
that's a tough day. You guys got to admit that's a long, tough.
Tom, I wasn't there in 2018. I was home, and guess what? I loved every second.
Yeah, like I'm right.
I was in Center City, and it was rough. It was fucking rough.
It's tough out there in the streets.
It was rough. I was there from 8 in the morning. And
you got to get to the speed line. You might sit there for 42 hours.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
4.5 hours.
I remember what it was like in 2008 with the speed line and being in the speed line, just a line to get over to Philly for 5 hours on Halloween morning.
I drove over. It was glorious. There's no bridge.
That's a pro move by you. That was a pro move by you. I remember.
Oh, I did because I had to go to work.
There you go. I remember in 2018 in the group chat, I was getting texts from Utah, just a bunch of the A2D guys, and a bunch of the guys were like, I might get stuck here for the night. I don't know how I'm getting back. Tom, I think you were saying like I don't know if you walked the bridge, but I don't know if it was you or somebody else was like, I'm just going to walk over the bridge.
We thought about it.
My brother walked back over the Ben.
I walked the entire Broad Street like twice. So, I mean, I walked the whole thing. It's
throughout the entire day. I was literally sitting back and like Jerry Seinfeld from the show. And I was just like reading all the text, just being like, that's a shame. I can't relate. Like I'm sitting here just watching it all the time.
I don't want to. I'm not going to say I don't want to go, but if it's the same way where it starts in South Philly and goes to and again, I'm not want to give bad juju out here. We have to win the game first.
Yes.
But if we do win the game and it's the same way as last time, I might go over to South Philly and watch them when they leave the stadium area, and then come back around and go watch the speeches and everything.
Yeah, I got to get back over the bridge.
I couldn't hear the fucking. I was like, we showed up early as shit, but we were still so far away that the speeches were too hard to hear. Like I had a great time, but it was a semi mess. I had a better time at the Phillies one where I was at the stadiums.
Yeah, because I heard it. I heard
and everything because they all came to the stadiums.
Yep. So we'll see how they do it.
The only way I would ever think again, if they win the game, or any parade, honestly, like going forward, because hopefully this is not the last time we're talking about a potential parade, and doesn't look like we're going to.
And it's a great time. Jay's probably not off. I know you were saying it too, but because you do, when you watch it, you get to watch the whole thing, and then you get to hear all the speeches perfectly.
Yep.
I can't imagine, and friends of mine said this too, like they completely missed the Jason Kelce speech live. Like
I didn't watch it live at all.
I
saw it later that night, or like later.
Well, no, I didn't get pretty close, but
I saw him up there. I couldn't hear what he was saying.
No, because I followed. That's what happened. I started in South Philly. I'm trying to remember what I did.
Yeah, and you followed all the way down.
I was in
Center City already.
I walked it. Now, the other time with the Phillies, I started all the way down to Center City, and I walked all the way to the stadiums. So I've done it both ways. So personally, I'm good. I'm good till Cass is old enough to go experience with me. Make sense? That's the next time I go, which is going to happen plenty. You know what I mean? This will happen plenty. I'm stamping this down. Maybe not for Eagles all the time, but Phillies are going to be good for a minute. And I'm going to say
we didn't even mention the fact that the Phillies were just in the World Series, and the Sixers are playing great ball. I mean, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be alive.
Tonight's an easy Orlando pick game for me. This is my opinion.
Honestly, I'm upset with myself that I didn't bet more on the Magic tonight.
But I'll say this. Sixers are going to an Eastern Conference final. We'll see what happens there. All right, I'm not going to go predicting a parade, but we'll see what happens there.
I mean, we look great. I'm happy with how the Sixers look, and I'm usually not. So
there are so many. I don't know if it's because it's been a minute since we've had something to really panic about in Philly, because the Sixers have had the winning streak. They've been on now I think it's 20-5 runs since the beginning of
Vegas
December.
plays 2-0 tonight. Let's go.
The Eagles have obviously been great. The Phillies did what they did, in the fall and everything. The Flyers don't completely suck, right? They're not a disaster.
Fire Doc.
Yeah. And so I don't know if tonight was one of the the first example and opportunity for people to be oh, things suck. But to both of your points, the Sixers were partying all weekend, not just with the Eagles. They had an event on Saturday. This was the easiest just look past the Magic type game. It's nobody cares. They clearly did. They got up to that lead because they're better, and they were just we don't care anymore.
When's the next game?
Wednesday
against the same team.
Magic again.
We might win by 30.
Yeah, exactly. Harden, allegedly, right? I might bet serious money that he was hungover tonight. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
they were partying all weekend.
Let's be honest. They were at the game. A lot of them were at the game last night. I mean, who cares? I don't care. They should be.
Yes.
They had a great road trip. I'm okay with them losing a home game. It's not the end of the world. I'm more.
Oh, you better come out and win Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. Better come out and win Wednesday. But honestly, to me, they've just been playing they seem to have found their roles, and I like the way that they look right now. They didn't shoot the ball well tonight. Sometimes that happens. And look, I didn't see any of the game because I was working and I was trying to follow the Syracuse game and getting fucking pissed off. But it didn't seem. It seemed like that we weren't really hitting many shots. It seemed like that the Magic was.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it, but
they were 70. They were shooting 75% from.
That's what I'm saying. The Magic looked like they were rolling.
Yeah.
And when I got home from work, getting ready to come on here, Texas Tech, who I bet money line, was down 23, and I'm like, great bet, Brian, you moron. They won.
There you go.
That's how we do.
Yeah.
Wish I would have live bet them.
All you need to know about that game tonight, Mo Wagner went off. Not Franz, the better Wagner. Mo Wagner
Franz had a decent game too, but Mo had a monster game.
Yeah.
Off the bench. I saw that.
And he was yelling N1. He was getting into it with Embiid and Niang. I mean, Niang gets into it with everybody, but that's all you need to know. If Mo Wagner goes off,
I don't like that Mo Wagner.
No, I can't stand him.
You know why I don't like him? Because
Michigan.
Syracuse played Michigan in the Final Four, and he went off.
He's just a hate the face guy. He'll make an easy layup and he'll just scream. He'll just scream like he had a poster dunk on Jordan.
We couldn't guard that fucker.
No. Nope.
I'll ask you guys this before we get out of here. What's your early score prediction?
27-26, Birds. Bang!
I'll go 31-27.
I'm gonna be completely honest with everybody. I got an early block pool that I'm already in, and my number is 7-6.
I was 27-24, so I'm sticking to it.
But I still feel 27-26 is possibility.
Yeah, Eagles.
I think it's going to be one of those games where you get up to an early lead, and the Chiefs historically start a little slow, and then I could see us being up by 13, 14 points, and we're just going to hang on for dear life because that's what Mahomes does. He has deficits in the playoffs, and then he just goes nuts. Right?
Yeah, this game, I wouldn't be surprised.
I highly doubt that we hold them under 10.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
24. I got the number 24 because they scored 23 yesterday. So, to me, I got to have the same type of effort. I got to bring the same, if not better. So, I got the number one defensive football. I better show up. I got to hold them to 20, 24 points.
Yeah, it's not going to be 10 degrees, though. It's going to be nice. It's going to be
true,
tougher to do that. But I
understood, but my defense is faster, too.
I agree. I'm in with you. I think if you hold – I feel like we can score 30 on them. If we hold them under, and I said 27, but like, right around 4 TDs ish for us. If we can hold them to less than that, I think we should win the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think 24.
And obviously, we're not talking about that, but the main thing is we got to continue with not turning the ball over.
Yeah, I think 24. I mean, maybe you give up 27, and still win. But I expect more out of our defense, right?
Yeah.
I got to at this point. I mean, you're going against arguably the best quarterback in football, and not even arguably to me, but people will always like to argue. So, arguably the best quarterback in football. You better come play. You better come show up.
Yeah, I think
we have to shoot at it.
I think honestly, Eagles fan or not, I think we have a better roster. It's just when a team has the best overall player on the field, anything's possible. It's like, and that's why. And this is no shot at Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow is very good, but that's why when we were talking on Wednesday, I was like, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if the Bengals won. Also because like I really wanted to see AJ Brown versus Eli Apple and our D line against that O line, but it's like you're not going up against Mahomes. Like that would have been cool. But again, you get to this spot, I'm not going to go in there with fear, especially the way we won the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think there will probably be more fear for Barrow if they won, right? You're like, man, he just won at Arrowhead again. All this dude does is win, right? Maybe that's more fear. I don't know. I mean, I fear Mahomes always, but to your point,
he's a little banged up.
We do have a better roster, and I think better rosters prevail.
And the Chiefs are. I mean, honestly, we didn't talk about that much, but besides just Mahomes, the Chiefs receivers were banged up. Who was playing receiver at the end of the game? It was like Sky Moore, Marcus Kemp, who I never even fucking heard of before. Juju was banged up, Kadarius Toney was banged up, and
Kadarius Toney had an ankle injury.
Valdez Scantling was in there. Hardman got hurt too. Right.
Hardman had a groin. And I don't know the other two. What happened to the other two? But I know the first two.
But either way, a lot some banged up people over there.
Yeah,
and we are surprisingly healthy. I know Landon had a little issue, but I expect him to be good. I mean, I've been a hyperextension of the elbow, but I expect him to be good.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks.
Apparently, the worst case scenario for him is that he would just be playing with a brace.
With a brace on, that's what I figured. Yeah, I said, and then put one of those robot arms on him. He'll be good to go.
Yeah,
I love me some Landon Dickerson. By the way, I love him.
I would assume their receivers will be healthy in 2 weeks.
Oh, right? I would assume most of them.
I would guess.
Maybe not Hardman. That was his first game back, and he was out from a groin.
The other one to be concerned about, I think, I'm sure he'll play, but he might still be banged up just because it was a knee. It was Schuster. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hear it's a knee, that might linger.
Yeah, you don't know how bad it is. And then Cardavius was the ankle. So
that guy's always hurt.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I prefer not to face him.
Dude runs hard, but always hurt.
Yeah, prefer. That's why he's always hurt. He's not as big as Debo to run like that. You know what I mean? Like Debo's big. Debo, I think it's stupid to run him out of the backfield anyway. Like I would never. I mean, that guy's so. But again, he's not a great route runner.
Nope.
And that's why their offense is what it is. Like San Fran, they have one good route runner, and that's Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk's a good route runner.
Yeah, but Debo's a slant guy. Yeah, that's why I said Debo. If he ain't catching slants,
Debo's like wide receiver screen slant. Yeah.
It's not a shot at him. He's a playmaker. Like I'm not taking.
Get the ball in his hands. He's phenomenal.
He's just not a number one like wide receiver type. He can be a number one playmaker type, but then that comes with the risk of getting hurt.
It's why they went in that whole saga in the offseason about not paying him.
Yeah,
and it wasn't hate. It was just like, hey, we're not going to give you life-changing money.
And it's tough to be tough to be the number one playmaker when you got McCaffrey, who's a phenomenal playmaker. You know what I mean? So they're going to get the ball to him probably more than you.
Well, you would think a smart offensive guy would actually get himself a quarterback, but that hasn't happened yet. So
I was going to say, guess what? I know. I don't want to keep this going, but Ryan was saying earlier, like it wouldn't be surprising to say that we had the best roster and everything. I would say that San Fran might be the only one to have a possibly best roster, except for the fact that they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean they're
like going into the season, everyone was thinking Trey Lance. It was all about Lance is Lance going to take that step? Really, should have been talking about is Hurts going to take that step? Because Hurts did take that step.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Lance did not. Well,
Jimmy G was their best chance to go to a Super Bowl. He was their best chance this year. And when he got hurt, they went on a run. Right, good for them because they do have a great roster.
They do, very good.
And they went on a run. But with those types of runs and no rookie quarterback ever winning an NFC title game, this is why it was another lock of the century. So like this week was a layup line to me with Brock Purdy, Purdy Cat, whoever you want to be behind center. This was a lock. If Jimmy's playing, I don't know if I can lock it. I can predict a win. I think we're better, but it's not a lock. You know what I mean? It's not a lock of a century.
Jimmy can make some plays.
Yeah, he's just a pro.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran. Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't get to him and make him throw 5 interceptions. I'm just saying. But even with Jimmy, Kyle throughout the time never took this. He never takes the freaking the lock of the steering wheel off. Right? Like it's always lock the steering wheel. It's always you got to go with what I call your first read. Where this football needs to go on this play. He never has given quarterbacks freedom in his offense to do that.
It's all the scripted plays. That's
it. Like that's the facts. Like ask anybody. That's the truth that nobody wants to listen to because they crown the guy. But it's almost like a dictatorship with the quarterback. That's it. Not with your roster. Just with whoever's playing quarterback. You better do A, B, C, and D. Right. And if you don't, the next guy will play.
It's why a ton of people in the league and us who just watch it too talk about how he gets way too conservative in big games. It's not just play calling. It's because there's a time like you look at Mahomes, right? And this goes to when he's down a ton of points and all of the scripted plays are gone, and Mahomes just starts doing sidearm throws and just no look passes, and he just becomes Mahomes because you just let the guy who's talented run your offense. Just let things happen, right? He never does that. And it's like, no, you got to do this and you got to go A, B, C, D. It's like, no, sometimes you got to switch things up a little bit. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't believe in the talent of his quarterbacks or it's just him, but I think it's him because he did it with an MVP caliber, or it wasn't even caliber. He was the MVP that year, Matt Ryan, when they blew the huge lead in the Super Bowl. Sometimes you just got to let the players play, man. And that sounds overly simplistic, but really, if he would have, I feel like he would have 2 Super Bowl trophies on his resume, and instead he has 0.
No, yeah, he never let like Jimmy throw it. Like not saying Jimmy's that good, but he never let Jimmy throw it. Like
no, it's 8, 9, 10 passes and let your running game do its thing, and it works until you have to throw the ball against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
It works until you have to go against a great defense or an explosive offense you have to keep up with. So it only works so long before your quarterback has to make enough plays. Right. So like we talk about this, it's the most important position in pro sports, right? One of the most, if not the most, right? And you're talking about an offensive guy and a GM who I think's in the running, and as he should be, for executive of the year every year, and John Lynch. Like you guys don't understand this yet. Like I don't. To me, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that these 2 guys would actually trade up for Trey Lance. It's almost like they were chasing Mahomes. Like thinking like, oh, this is our Mahomes. Like, stop. Like Mahomes played at a big 5 program. Can we knock it off? Like, it wasn't like Mahomes couldn't play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just was in the Big 12, but he could spin it there too. Like, it's not like he's an unknown commodity that was drafted in like the 4th round.
No, it's not like it's not just that they felt the need to trade all of those damn picks to go up and get a kid, right? Instead of, and we talked about this 2 years ago, Tom, before we saw any of this, where we could be looking at this. We said this years ago, like we could be looking in 5 years and saying the 49ers kind of whiffed because they got trigger happy and traded up for a long-term project instead of just taking Justin Fields, right? And I'm not saying Justin Fields is awesome, right? But he's better than Trey Lance.
I got a better idea. Draft another player to surround your team with and just pay Jimmy G serviceable money because he's always going to have you in a title game with a chance to win. That's the facts. That was the easy solution.
With Brock hurt now, I don't know. It's either they're going to go back to Lance or guess what? They might be calling old Aaron up.
Well, I'll go one better than you, Wilson, because I saw
Brady.
I saw it all night and all day. The two biggest things on 49ers fans' pages right now is talk about how the Eagles are lucky that Purdy got hurt, and they're trying to convince themselves on 46-year-old Tom Brady.
Yeah, well, that's cute.
Okay, listen.
Do you want to lose the
that's
same way
that's
again?
where Tom's from, but
You want to lose the same way again?
And also, you think Tom Brady is going to – I could see him and Shanahan clashing because Brady's going to want to do his own thing.
If it's anybody, it's Rodgers. I mean, to me, like
Rodgers makes more sense because
if I'm an
it's
organization,
better than
like,
Tom is right now.
Like if I'm an organization, like I'm good on Tom. Like I appreciate you. That's a Vegas thing. Go to Vegas.
I can't believe that people want. I can't believe that people think that want to give Tom a multi-year deal. Dude's like 47. What are we talking about?
Dude, I hurt my knee.
I understand he can still throw the football a little bit, but he can't move.
Can't move. Rodgers can still move. Have we not watched what this league's become? It's a dual threat quarterback league. Like even Joe Burrow, dual threat. Patrick Mahomes, dual threat. Right? The list goes on. Josh Allen, dual threat. Jalen Hurts, dual threat. You don't have to think they're dual threats, but they are. They are. Why did Kansas City Chiefs get in field goal range last night? Dual threat. Dual threat. He ran, got pushed when he's already out of bounds. 15 yards. The quarterbacks are always protected. Dual threat. You know what I mean? Like, this is what the league is. How many pocket guys are left that aren't getting killed?
You guys don't think they would try to get Lamar, do you?
Who?
49ers.
I mean, with his scheming and him wanting to run the ball like he does, that's a home run. But Lamar stinks now too because he's always going to get hurt.
Like, I hope he goes to the Dolphins.
It's not a shot like he stinks. Sorry, like Lamar's a terrific playmaker.
He's a concern.
There's would be a huge concern that he's not hurt every year. He had his MVP year and he's dropped off every year since. That's not a good sign.
And you're going to have to trade for him and then extend him.
Well, a good organization, a very good one, looks like they don't want to give him that type of money yet. So when you talk about, hey, the place he's at is run really well, and they're concerned about it, shit. Color me not in.
I hope he goes to the Dolphins because I want to see Sweeps' head explode.
What, Lamar?
Sweeps
Sweeps
doesn't like Tua. He also doesn't like Lamar. So it'd be great if they just replace Tua with Lamar.
Yeah, problem is that won't work because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle wouldn't want to play anymore. They would be tired of that real quick.
I think the Dolphins said something like they expect Tua to be good.
They're going to bring him back, and they're going to get like Jacoby Brissett, who's just a professional backup who can play like 7 games if you need to.
No, I mean, listen, I
actually like Jacoby Brissett as a backup. Love him.
He's got the wrong doctors. You know what I mean? Wrong doctors.
Well, so I'll tell you, Lamar's going to go
so bad. So go ahead. Yeah.
Last thing, Lamar's going to Atlanta, in my opinion. Wilson.
Oh.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck there. Good spot.
Good spot for him.
Yeah. They don't like that with Ritter. Yeah. Boys, great show. As always, go Birds. Can't believe we have 2 weeks to talk about it. We'll be back Wednesday night, but the show is on HUD every night. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow wherever you're at. If you're on the podcast side of things, download, review, follow us on all our social platforms. We love you all. Thanks for joining. For Ryan Brodo, Brian Wilson, I'm Tom Arnone. It's a Philly thing. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We're in the dance. The bowl.
Let's go.
Exciting times. I've done 3 shows in 24 hours. So great time to be alive. Not mad about it. Yeah, not mad about it or I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Just 3 and 24. Thank God I wasn't.
Just make sure you hydrate. Just hydrate, Tommy.
I could have never made it to the tailgate and came back, did a show, and then did one today. So I'm glad I had that safe. I'm glad I had the safe plan because supposedly they couldn't get. Supposedly they couldn't. If people were sitting 2-3 hours worth of traffic trying to get in the lots yesterday.
Well, they said the lots were brutal because of the Nova game.
Yeah, they didn't open some right away.
And they had roads closed apparently, like in like the outskirts of the city too, where like the one like chunk of the people were coming from. Like they decided to do like construction on one of the streets.
Well, why couldn't Nova just go fucking play the game at their own place?
Yeah, well, they always set up like 4 or 5 games a year
That's cute.
at Wells Fargo, but like
on a Sunday.
they should be like, oh, God, by the way, guys, Eagles are playing. We got changes.
Yeah.
Tony, you heard us.
Thanks, Tone.
Thanks, Tone. You heard us on the injury, right, Tone? You got it. You heard us on the Landon injury. I saw that up there. I think he did. Yeah, Mahomes is great, guys. I know people are saying that in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely awesome. He's the best player in football, probably.
He's great. Their defense, not so much outside of Mr. Jones. So
very true.
We appreciate you. We're brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. Daily NFL contests, NBA contests. You can win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D, and you get $50 right at sign up. So go download FanUp right on the Apple Store. We're out. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.